Part 1. No easy way. Manifestation and law of attraction is the most misunderstood or misinterpreted technique in achieving success. Most people think it's the easy way to get what you want. You just sit there and think about what you want, claim, affirm, tell yourself that you're a brave person, you're a hardworking, you're a loving, you're worth it, and then you'll eventually get or you will eventually attract the things that you want. Unfortunately, if you think that's how it works, it's not, and you're wrong. Manifestation and law of attraction is sitting and then being clear. That's what they mean when think what you want. Be clear of what you want, envision it, be specific, and then meditate on it. Not just think about it, meditate on it. So therefore you need to sit, be clear of what you want, and then imagine or envision a person, your future self, achieving it or having that thing. And then you slowly step into that person's body and open your mind in the sensation of what they feel, what they think, and what they do. All the senses that you can ever think of. Be open to that and feel it at the present moment. Therefore, you're having the experience of that person, and also that's reprogramming your mind of becoming that person because you're experiencing the achievement or the attraction of the thing that you want to get. So basically, it will help you have less resistance in doing the hard work in order to achieve what you want. And that's what it's do. It's reprogramming your mind to slowly become a different person, to think and act in a different way slowly by daily doing that practice, and therefore there will be less resistance in doing the hard work. Therefore, there is still hard work in the formula. You still need to do the work. There is no easy way. You don't get what you want. You don't attract what you think. You don't achieve the goal that you set. We attract who we are. And shifting or changing yourself is hard. No one will do it for you. And even if they want to, no matter how desperate they are, no one can do that for you as well. This is the importance of taking responsibility, especially when it comes to facing your fears. No one can face your fears for you. You are the only one who can do it, and it takes hard work. So there's no easy way. So even if you need to inspire yourself, you must do it. By the way, my name is Art, and in this video, I'm gonna share to you, or we're gonna have a discussion on why facing your fears is more important than what you think and how to do it. I'm gonna share to you the step-by-step actions that I've done to get a great outcome in facing my fears. So let's get right into it. Continue to part 2. What is fear? So when we are fearful, part of our brain, our amygdala, releases a chemical or neurotransmitter called glutamate. So a neurotransmitter is a chemical that communicate with other parts of your brain in order to have like a respond or for you to feel something. So that is the same with the dopamine, serotonin, serotonin. Anyway, dopamine, serotonin. Is that even the I can't remember if I'm saying it right, but that's it. So the glutamate communicate with other parts of your brain, and therefore your body, it commands your body to respond in a certain way, like fast breathing, sweating, tensing of the muscle, you know. So that is fear. That's why we experience those things when we feel fear. Now, what is really fear? It's an emotion, it's an experience, it's a feeling, and it's really helpful to feel fear, especially in the face of danger. As Sherlock Holmes said, fear in the face of danger is wisdom. Why? Because if you don't feel fear, you might not notice that you're in danger and therefore lose your life. If you are in a very tall building without safety or anything, you might feel fear of falling, and therefore you're, of course, if you're not stupid, you're gonna get out of that position in order to make sure of your safety. But if you're not fearful, eh? if you are not fear, if you are not fearful, you stay there, and staying there gives you more high chances of falling and dying. Also, that's the same when we encounter wild animals. If we feel fear, therefore, we will have this instinct to move ourselves out of that situation, out of that danger in order to survive and feel safe. But in daily life, we don't casually encounter wild animals anymore. In our daily life, we are less exposed in life and death scenarios. Well, maybe that's not applicable if you're in Australia. Occasionally, there are snakes on their toilet, big spiders inside their house, something not normal in other parts of the world. Anyway, so I think there are two types of fears. The first is the first type, the life and death scenario, the less likely to happen fear. And the second one is metaphorical fear, because we feel fear even though it's not that harmful to our life. Like public speaking, most common example. A lot of people fear of embarrassment and being humiliated in public, even though if it doesn't mean they will lose their life. But that's really fearful, and we all share that type of shit. This video, I just would like to clarify that this is about the metaphorical fear. Okay, so don't do stupid shit. Don't put yourself in harm way. Don't risk your life just because someone in the internet told you that facing your fear is important. Don't. Just don't. So, part 3, the consequences. Every emotion is at first weak. Later, it rouses itself and gathers strength as it moves along. It's easier to slow it down than to supplant it. That is from Seneca, June 9th, of the Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. Emotion is a fear, so therefore it is applicable in fear as well. In other words, fear grows over time, and that's the one of the consequences that you will have if you don't face your fear. It will eat you alive. If you keep avoiding facing your fear, you will have, or you will be able to keep that fear for life. All the things that we need to survive is being provided to us instantly. And as long as we're surviving, as long as we're living, we have less urgency to face our fears. But there are fears that will eventually come and get you. So as long as you keep your fears, you try to avoid them, it's like a dragon. It will come to you. And living a fulfilled and healthy life comes with the responsibility of going to their cave and slaying them, or at least build the character that would slay that dragon when it comes to you. That's another way of facing your fears. Avoiding your fear is limiting yourself. Life is short. No matter whether you think short or long, it is short enough to live in regret. Why? What does have fear to do with regret? Well, keeping your fear for a very long time limits the life that you can live. That's why when we are fearful, we tend to make the easier choices than to do the hard work, than to do the right thing. It suppresses the potential that you have, and therefore self hatred or resentment actually grows within you as well. Fear is the limit that you put yourself. Fear limits the life that you can live. So the consequence of facing your fear is being eaten alive by it. You let it grow, you live regretting. You let it grow, you limit yourself. You let it grow, you make yourself prone to do or to choose bad choices that builds into bad habits. And if you have bad habits, your life is miserable. So that's the consequences. In general, if you stay fearful, if you keep avoiding and not taking the responsibility to face your fear, you will live your life trying to run away and be eaten alive by regret, by hatred, by envy, by jealousy. I don't want to live that kind of life. Do you? Part 4, the how. I have 3 steps that I've done that I think will be helpful for you on how to face your fear. Again, the fear that we're talking about is the metaphorical fear, so don't put yourself in harm's way. Please don't do stupid stuff. So let's get right into it. I know that I just gave you the consequences, the example, and that consequence is universal. But the thing about us is we are merely moved by the words of other people. So the first step is to figure out to yourself what is the consequences for you if you avoid the fear. Awareness is the first step. You need to imagine and then write down what would be your life look like after 5 to 10 years if you keep the fear that you have. And also, maybe some of you are in a comfortable place, so it will be also helpful to write down a life where you don't have this fear. How will you feel? What will you do? What are you able to express? The achievements that you could achieve if you don't have the fear, and also what are the opportunities that could open for you if you are just not fearful of public speaking over whatever the fear of your choice that you would like to tackle. Step 2, set realistic intention or aim versus trying to be a perfect person. I just want to remind you that the focus is facing your fears, not eliminating them. I said kill your dragons, but I'm not saying to be fearless or to have zero fears. Again, fear is really important. It's normal for a human to feel fear. So we're not trying to eliminate it, but we are trying not to be controlled by it, not to be limited by it. So therefore, the important thing is to set the realistic intention or aim. When I was looking for a job for the first time, interview is the scariest shit in the world for me that time. And that's a metaphorical fear because there is thousands of jobs available there, even though I'm not qualified for each one of those. But still, there's numerous jobs that I can apply to. But I was afraid of having or being interviewed when I applied for a job. What's going in my mind is, what if I failed? So that's a rejection. I didn't get the job. What if they have questions that I cannot answer? What if I stutter? What if I embarrass myself? And if you're inexperienced, if that's the first time you doing the interview and the first time you're applying for a job, the percent that those things will happen is almost 100%. So therefore, it's inevitable. So if I avoid my fear and do not apply, nothing will happen and my life will get worse. So what I did is, if these things is inevitable, these things are painful but inevitable, well, maybe I should not focus on getting these things right at the first try. What I did is to try to shift my perspective on what it means. It just means that I'm inexperienced. It just means I'm not enough yet to pass an interview. And that really helped me to face my fears of applying for a job. So what I did, the intention that I set, the aim that I set, is not to pass the interview, but to learn something from it. It's like a practice, to the point that I've sent a lot of resume to different companies, and I said to myself, whoever calls me, I'm gonna answer the questions, even though if I'm afraid, even though if my voice is shaking, I'm just gonna get through it. And sometimes I receive a call, I don't even know from which company it was, because I just send a resume randomly, even though I know I'm not qualified for those jobs. Because when you pass a resume, there is like 50-50 chance that someone will call you. So I just spread it like a lottery. More entry, more chances of winning. So therefore, even though I fail in tons of interview, that doesn't affect me that much because that's not how I measure myself. That's not the criteria. That's not the point of being interviewed for the first place for me. The point is getting the experience and then learning from it. As long as I learned something from an interview, it means I success to my mission. So this step two is set intention, realistic intention or aim that will help you motivate yourself instead of being devastated when you fail or when you mess things up. Because that's the point of feeling the fear, feeling that we would mess up, feeling that we would fail. So being okay or setting or shifting your aim to a more realistic, achievable goal is taking away the power of fear over you, and therefore you have more progress on that thing that you would like to achieve. Even though if you're fearful, again, I was still fearful, but I just shift my focus in other way, and therefore it helped me get better instead of hating myself, telling myself I'm not enough for the interview. No, that's not what I told myself to focus on. So therefore, I just shift my perspective and focus on the things that I can get from the interview. So step three is schedule it as soon as possible. So remember, in the consequences, fear grows over time. So you must schedule it as soon as possible as you can because it takes time to face your fear. It takes time to build the courage. It takes time to feel confident and overcome the fear. So do it right away. If you don't feel that you're not ready yet, well, you will never feel ready. That's it. That's the fact. No one is ready enough to live life. No one is ready enough to be an adult. No one is ready enough to take responsibility. No one is. Even though you prepared, no one is 100% ready for it. But if you do it as soon as possible as you can, you're putting yourself in the process, you'll experience it, and therefore you're learning as soon as possible as well. So you're speeding up the process by just getting into it. But first, don't forget to set intention first, because if you don't set intention and you dive into it might have like the opposite effect on you because again there's higher probability that we might fail. So to sum it up, the three step in facing your fear is know your consequences, write it down, what life will be like if you stay on the same place with the same fear for 10 or 5 years. Also imagine the life that you would live if you get rid of the fear, of if you have the courage to face the fear, the opportunity, the things that you can do, the things that you could experience, how you feel, and what you can provide to your loved ones. The second step is set realistic intention versus trying to be a perfect person. So shift your focus not in eliminating the fear but in growing through it. Use your fear as an indicator in the aspect of your life where you need growth. And the third but not the least is to schedule it ASAP. Life doesn't happen to you when you're ready. Disaster doesn't happen when you're ready. It will come to you. It will eat you alive. Again, fear grows over time. So slay it as soon as possible. Part 5. What really matters. Now we already know the consequences, we already know the upside of facing the fears, but what really matters? The goal is not to eliminate the fear. The goal is to be the person who can face their fears, especially when it's necessary. It's the person who doesn't run away because they're scared, but someone who takes responsibility because they can act even if they're afraid. I'm not saying be impatient and then take risks, even though if it's just metaphorical fear. I'm not saying that. It doesn't equal to being impatient. Being impatient is doing the hard work without learning anything, putting yourself and doing the hard work without doing the right thing. So be strategic. That's why we have the three steps. The second step is the most important for me because that is where the shift happens. When you shift your perspective, when you change your relationship with your fear. So what matters is you doing your best even though you know you'll fail. You putting the effort even though you know you will mess up. Why? Because that's how we grow. That's the fastest way to grow. If you do your best, you gave your all, and you still didn't win, well, it means that you're just not enough. And that's okay. That will be okay for you because you're not afraid to not be enough. Because you know you're on the journey of growth. Because you're the one who set yourself there. You're the one who will face your fear to surpass your limitation. So you reach the ceiling, but you're not afraid to have a breakthrough. And that breakthrough is through facing your fear. And what matters in facing your fear is to keep doing your best, but also learning and adapting. Be smart in doing the right thing, not just work hard. Again, working hard is part of the formula, but you need to be smart enough because facing your fear is really somehow tricky. Instead of growth, you might hate yourself, you might convince yourself that you're not enough. But if you set your intention and then do your best, then learn from it, and then try again and again and again, you will eventually surpass the ceiling, you'll have a breakthrough, and you'll be a different person. So, the point of facing your fear is actually to build the will, the discipline, the focus, and also be competent enough to have the confidence. And the confidence that I'm referring to is the confidence of knowing that you can figure things out no matter how difficult the situation is because you know how to face your fear and you can take action even when you're fearful. That's it for me today. Have a wonderful day. Peace.